Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. If you haven't already done so, please make sure the volume of this podcast is set perfectly to your listening enjoyment. Please take your seat, whether that's on the treadmill, car, sofa, or bed, and buckle in for the last trip. My name is Jamie Beebe, and I'll be your tour guide recreating someone's last days in paradise. On behalf of myself and everyone behind the scenes, please enjoy the Last Trip podcast. And because nobody likes a long flight to get to where they want to be, let's prepare for takeoff. 30-year-old Blake Mitchell left Oklahoma for Cozumel, Mexico to take classes and complete his diving teacher certification. He had been going back and forth to Cozumel for about a year with his dog Sophie, but on March 13th, 2019, he vanished. That day, he sent his brother a text saying he had a toothache and wouldn't be diving. But when the text stopped abruptly, his family got worried. They called the diving center, who told them Blake was missing and had left behind his cell phone, backpack, motorcycle, and his dog Sophie. At first, it looked like Blake may have had an accident in the water. But when more clues came to light, his family thought something more sinister happened. Where is Blake Mitchell? Cozumel is a great island to visit, and I love it there. Definitely one of the more relaxing islands I've been to. It's known for its beautiful beaches, vibrant coral reefs, and rich cultural heritage, making it a popular destination for tourists who are looking for both relaxation and adventure. It's part of the Mexican state of Quintana Roo, but like most islands, it's safer than the mainland. It's about 30 miles long and 10 miles wide off the eastern coast of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. It's a top destination for scuba diving and snorkeling because it's part of the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef System, the second largest coral reef system in the world. Some of the more popular dive sites include Palancar Reef, Columbia Reef, and the Cozumel Reef National Marine Park. Palancar Reef is one of the most renowned and beautiful coral reefs in the world, located off the southwest coast of Cozumel in the National Marine Park, which is a protected area that helps preserve the reef's ecosystem. It extends over several kilometers and has various dive sites at different depths and levels of difficulty. There are coral formations, tunnels, swim-throughs, and caverns, and it's easily accessible. Diving conditions are generally good year-round, and the best time to visit is during the dry season, from November to April, when the weather is at its peak. The Columbia Reef is nearby and known for its abundant marine life. It's divided into two sections, Columbia Deep and Columbia Shallows. Columbia Deep features spectacular wall diving with dramatic drop-offs and vertical walls covered in coral formations. It ranges from around 100 feet to much deeper and is more suitable for advanced divers. Columbia Shallows is ideal for beginner divers and snorkelers, ranging from about 30 to 50 feet. Because it's more shallow, there is excellent visibility and ample sunlight. So that's where you want to go to get those amazing underwater photos. But if you're not diving, there is plenty more to enjoy on the island. San Gervasio is the most significant Mayan archaeological site on Cozumel. It was once a ceremonial center dedicated to the goddess Ixchel, the Mayan of fertility, love, and medicine. If you go, you can explore the ruins, temples, and plazas. The Cozumel Museum is a great place to go to beat the heat if you've had enough of the sun. It's located in the town of San Miguel, which is a great shopping hub, and offers exhibits on the island's history, culture, and marine life. There's also the Punta Sur Eco Beach Park, located on the southern tip of the island, which has gorgeous beaches, lagoons, and a mangrove forest. You can check out the Celerine Lighthouse, explore nature trails, visit the crocodile observation area, and relax on the beach. Another national park is Chonkanab. It has a blend of natural beauty with recreational activities for the more adventurous travelers. There's a large lagoon, botanical gardens, a replica Mayan village, and places to snorkel and dive to see underwater statues and marine life. There are several popular beaches on the island, although I normally try to find beaches that are off the beaten path for a little more privacy. Playa Palancar is known for its soft white sand and clear waters. It's a great spot for relaxation, swimming, water sports, as well as snorkeling and diving. Playa Mia Grande Beach Park is a family friendly beach park with a wide range of activities, including water slides, a floating park, kayaks, paddle boats, and beach volleyball. Last on my list is Mr. Sancho's Beach Club, where they offer all inclusive day packages for the perfect beach party day, with a private beach, swimming pools, restaurants, and water sports. Once you're in Cozumel, renting a car or scooter is a convenient and easy way to get around. When I was there, I rented a scooter and it was perfect. The island is only about 30 miles at its longest, so a scooter will get you anywhere you need to go with plenty of time to spare. And don't miss the chance to sample all the local dishes on the island at various eateries and beach clubs. There's a lot of fresh seafood and traditional Yucatan cuisine. Overall, Cozumel is a wonderful little island for a great getaway, fun in the sun. You won't be disappointed. And if you're like Blake Mitchell, it's the perfect island to solidify your diving skills and finish taking classes at any number of dive shops available. So, who was Blake Mitchell, and why was he in Cozumel when he disappeared?
Hey there, true crime aficionados. Looking for a podcast that's as twisted as it is hilarious?
Well, you've stumbled upon the perfect place. Welcome to Luminol on the Wall, or as we like to call it, Lotwa. I'm Becky, the sunshine to your day.
And I'm Bevy, the moonlight to your darkness. Together, we're the sisters you never knew you needed, bringing you true crime like you've never heard before.
Picture this. Two sisters, complete opposites.
Yeah, she's all sunshine and kindness, while I'm the queen of sarcasm and sass.
But that's what makes our sister chat so relatable. We're like the sun and the moon, lighting up your true crime journey with laughter and irreverence.
That's right. We dive into the darkest corners of humanity, but we don't just stop at the gore and the controversies. Oh no. We're here to roast the characters, each other, and sometimes even ourselves.
We laugh hysterically at our own jokes.
And we swear like sailors while we're at it, so if you're easily offended, consider this your warning.
But if you're ready for a wild ride through the twisted minds of murderers, join us on Lotwa. We'll cope with the horrific nature of our content the only way that we know how. That is with a healthy, or maybe excessive dose of sarcasm, wit, and a touch of crass humor.
So what are you waiting for? Hit that follow button and join our sisterhood as we navigate the murky waters of true crime together. We promise you won't regret it.
Blake Aaron Mitchell was born February 9th, 1989, in Mustang, Oklahoma. He grew up in a loving farm family and was the oldest of 4 kids and part of the Chickasaw tribe. He's a true Oklahomian. It's in his blood. He was raised on a Mustang cattle and wheat farm that had been in his family since the 1889 Land Run. And if you don't know, the Land Run, also known as the Oklahoma Land Rush, took place on April 22nd, 1889, when thousands of prospective settlers lined up at the borders, and right at noon that day, they rushed the territory to stake their claims on 160-acre plots of land. Wherever you ran to, you got to keep the land, and it was yours to farm. Blake was raised on that farm, just like the generations before him, and had plans to return to the farm after getting his scuba teaching certification in Cozumel. Scuba diving was his passion, and he did everything he could to stay near the water in Oklahoma, even working as a lifeguard through his teenage years. His life dream was to become a scuba instructor and then return to Oklahoma to open a scuba shop while also working on the farm and staying near his close-knit family, because family was everything to Blake. He was the type of guy that would do anything for anyone. He was strong-willed and would never give up, whether that was on his dreams or his life. He loved farming, he loved America, and he was just a solid, genuine guy that everyone was drawn to. The love of his life was a Jack Russell Terrier named Sophie. She was Blake's service dog who helped him with depression. which he had under control at the time of his disappearance. And he spoiled Sophie, dressing her in cute outfits and taking her absolutely everywhere with him, whether just to the store or all the way to Mexico and out to the beach while he was in the water. Shortly before Blake's disappearance, tragedy struck his family when, on January 12th, 2019, Blake's younger brother, 26-year-old Taylor, passed away. He was a type 1 diabetic, and his father passed away very young from the effects of diabetes as well. So while his death was sudden, it wasn't totally unexpected. He had what's called brittle diabetes, and it damaged his heart and other organs, and he had an enlarged heart because of it. He passed away peacefully in his recliner watching TV. This was devastating for everyone, and Blake postponed his last diver's test to come home from Cozumel to grieve with his family. In fact, his younger brother's funeral was the last time his family ever saw him, because when he went back to take his final test, scheduled for April 12th, he vanished. So, how did things go so wrong when Blake went back to Cozumel for what should have been his last time before coming home to open his dive shop? Blake had a great life in Cozumel. He brought his dog Sophie with him, and they were an inseparable pair that everyone on the island knew. He had been going back and forth for about a year, renting a room from a woman near the beach, living out his dreams, taking his final scuba classes to become an instructor. Shortly after returning to Cozumel from his brother's funeral, Blake was in a bad accident. On January 30th, a woman driving a car hit Blake and his coworker while they were riding on his scooter. He was injured, but basically okay and healing. Unfortunately, this put a damper on his scuba classes because he couldn't dive while still healing. He was able to do some shallow dives, but only up to 130 feet until the doctors and his instructor felt he was fully healed, which they thought would be in April. He told his family that his plan was to basically stay out of the water until then, finish his instructor's certificate, then come back home within a month. On March 11th and the morning of March 12th, Blake was in the water doing shallow dives and snorkeling. And on the afternoon of Tuesday, March 12th, he started a large tattoo with plans to finish it that Friday. And if you've ever had a tattoo, you know it takes a while to heal. So Blake wouldn't have gone in the water with a fresh tattoo. Most tattoo artists tell clients to wait 1 to 2 weeks before going in the water or the sun in order for it to heal correctly. The morning of March 13th, around 9 a.m., Blake texted his younger brother Braden and told him he had a toothache because the crown on his tooth had fallen off. But he was going to try to make his way to the south side of the island to do some light snorkeling or just play at the beach with Sophie, and also take a nap later since he wasn't feeling well. We know Blake went into his morning class before that, but left early because of his toothache. Blake's last message to his brother was a photo of Sophie. In it, she was wearing a shirt, and that shirt was later found at his residence. So it's likely he was either home when he took the photo or went home after the photo was taken. But after that, all of Blake's texts stopped abruptly. Blake's brother was immediately suspicious, but didn't raise the alarm until the next day when he still hadn't heard anything. Blake texted his brother daily, telling him what he was doing, or even just a simple I love you text. So Braden knew when he didn't hear from him, there was a problem. Blake's family called Marine World in Cozumel where he was taking classes, but they didn't know where he was either. They said they had found Blake's backpack on the dock at Tequila Beach with his iPad, MacBook Pro, phone, and passport in it, along with a full bottle of water. His house keys were missing off the backpack, and his GoPro 7 was also missing. His scooter was still parked nearby. The area where his things were found was a popular snorkeling area for shore snorkeling, and there are usually a lot of people getting on and off boats, snorkeling, or swimming. And there is a lot of boat traffic in the area, which could potentially be the biggest hazard to someone in the water. And the depths range from about 3 to 30 feet. But overall, the area is safe to be in the water. But if Blake went in the water, even for a quick swim, why would he leave his backpack sitting on the beach with all of his electronics in it? Anywhere you are, you don't want to leave a backpack full of expensive items lying on the beach. And you wouldn't leave electronics in the hot sun at the beach either. His friends in Cozumel went to his rental house to look for him and found his dog Sophie locked inside without food or water, and she had been there for several days alone. Now, at this point, Blake's friends in Cozumel and his family in Oklahoma knew something was terribly wrong. All of this was totally out of character for Blake. He would never leave Sophie home alone without food or water, and in fact, he rarely left her home at all. Immediately, the U.S. Embassy, Navy, Coast Guard, Mexican police, and Cozumel police started looking for Blake. His mother flew to Cozumel the following Monday in hopes of helping with search efforts. And once she got there, she determined that whatever happened on land and not in the water. She didn't think he went in the water at all, but rather something sinister happened to her son. Backing up her theory, on March 21st, Blake's helmet and regulator were found inside his locker at Marine World, so he definitely wasn't diving that day. There's a chance he went snorkeling, but there are several reasons that doesn't make any sense. First of all, that area had a lot of people around and no one saw him in the water or on the dock. And second, he had a very fresh tattoo that he still had to finish. He was not the type of person to ruin a brand new tattoo. But the speculation was that he went in the water and something happened there, due to where his things were found. On March 22nd, the search team and police expanded their radius to include the rest of Cozumel Island, Mexican mainland, the Caribbean Sea, and surrounding islands. They also started searching the jungle and the waters from Mexico to Cuba. Because the clues left behind seemed so odd, they didn't want to leave any stone unturned. Blake could potentially be anywhere, on land or at sea. And if he was at sea, they were slowly running out of time. By March 24th, authorities minimized their search efforts because they found no further clues to his whereabouts and assumed that meant he had to be in the water. And by now, his chance of survival would likely be zero. Of course, his family was not willing to give up on finding Blake, so they hired a private investigator to help them. They posted flyers all over the island. They started a GoFundMe page and a Find Blake Mitchell Facebook page, but there were no more clues. When Blake's mom made her way back to Oklahoma, she brought his dog Sophie home with her to stay safe until she found her son. 14 days after his disappearance, on March 27th, Blake's sister Erica wrote on Facebook, "We are still working to find you, brother. I can't believe it's been 2 weeks now. We won't give up. And everyone on this page has been so helpful. Thank you to everyone who has been giving us tips, help, or prayers." The Facebook page was gaining traction, but still no viable tips or clues were coming in, and the private investigator also hit walls on any new information. On April 6th, Erica wrote to Senator James Lankford, Congressman Tom Cole, and President Donald Trump to ask for assistance in finding Blake, but none of them ever responded. On April 15th, 33 days after Blake went missing, Erica wrote on Facebook, "We will not give up. My brother is out there somewhere and we need help to get him home. The clock keeps ticking. There is power in numbers. We need Trump's help." She asked people to tweet, email, and reach out to President Trump on Facebook, along with their state congressmen and senators to ask for help. But again, none of them responded. On April 19th, day 37 of Blake's disappearance, his dad Brandon and stepmom Dana went to Mexico. They rented a boat and went out searching on their own. They were out early in the morning with divers and continued to go back day after day, but they still found nothing. Erica wanted to go with them but had problems with her passport and was trying to expedite it, but said they kicked back her documents without opening them because they received too many applicants the day she was scheduled. She detailed her frustration on Facebook, but said she was spending her time trying to help online while she waited on her passport. April 30th was Blake's brother Braden's 21st birthday. Everyone knew Blake was looking forward to spending that day with his brother and would not have missed it for the world. It was tradition to watch Marvel movies, and they had been planning to watch Endgame together. By now, it had been 38 days, and they were no closer to finding Blake than they were on day one. On May 27th, Erica wrote on Facebook, "Blake still has not been found. 75 days have passed now. We are still not much closer to answers." Reading that post, I could feel the disappointment and anguish of not finding Blake yet, and the knowledge that after so much time passing, there was a chance they may never find him, or if they did, they might only find a body. In July of 2019, 4 months after Blake went missing, his family took a much-needed vacation to Florida to regroup after spending months searching and in sadness. Near the end of their trip, someone reached out and said they kidnapped Blake. They had him, and he would die unless they paid a ransom to get him back. It all started with a series of texts from an unrecognized number saying, "We kidnapped your brother. We demand ransom. We have him with us. He's sick and has ulcers." They said they would kill Blake if they didn't get the money, even going as far as to pretend to put a doctor on the phone to back up their claims. Blake's family ended up sending a few $100s to hear his voice before realizing it was all a lie and a scam. Guys, this is so heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that there are such horrible people in the world that they would prey on a family at their lowest point. A family that just wants their loved one back, safe and sound, and would do anything to know he's okay. And unfortunately, this happens a lot. It happens to families of missing people and even families of missing pets. Recently, my boyfriend's dog ran away from the pet sitter while we were traveling, and she's really fast, so they couldn't catch her. We got back a few hours later, and he walked the streets of Los Angeles where she ran off for over 10 hours with no luck. I started posting on Facebook, made flyers, contacted shelters and vets' offices. And within a few hours, my boyfriend started getting numerous texts and calls from people saying they had his dog. But each one was a complete scam. One woman said her boyfriend stole the dog and was going to use it for fighting, but if we sent her some money, she could get it back for us. Another said he had the dog, and he even sent 2 photos of a dog we were sure was his, but he demanded money up front to bring her to us. Another said they had her trapped in their yard but didn't want to give us the address unless we sent money up front. There were so many different horror stories, and they were all scammers that just wanted us to send money. And the worst part was that my boyfriend wanted his dog back so bad he was willing to pay just in case anyone was telling the truth. Luckily, a Good Samaritan did actually find her the next day, called, gave us the address where they had her, and we picked her up. But if you're ever in this situation, please don't fall victim to these scams. And I know there's no easy way to tell if it's a scam, but there are a few safety tips. According to the National Institutes of Health, if someone attempts to demand money from you from an alleged kidnapping victim, you should look for the following signs. Any incoming calls from an outside area code. Sometimes Puerto Rico codes are used, like 787, 939, and 856. Any calls that do not come from the alleged kidnapping victim's phone may be a scam. Callers who go to great lengths to keep you on the phone are usually a scam. The reason they do this is to try to prove to you they really have your loved one. The longer they keep you on the phone, the more they can try to prove it and exhaust you without you actually talking to your loved one. Blake's sister Erica said they were reaching out, texting, and calling for a full 20 hours straight before they actually sent the money. If the kidnappers are real, it's unlikely they'll want to keep contacting you because that just gives more chance of being caught. If they won't let you see or talk to your missing loved one, chances are they don't have them. And callers who only accept ransom money through wire transfer are likely scammers as well. If you're ever in this situation, contact your local police department immediately, even if the caller threatens you not to. Since Blake has gone missing, there have been many mass graves found throughout Mexico and bodies found in Cozumel. Each time, his family holds their breath, waiting to see if Blake has been found. But so far, nothing. Blake would have turned 31 on February 9th, 2020, but his family did not get to celebrate with him. The last time they saw him was at their other son's funeral. Losing two sons within months of each other is devastating for any family, but not knowing what happened is beyond comprehension. We'll go over thoughts and theories about the case of Blake Mitchell after a word from our sponsors. Hey guys, let's get real about getting older. I'm in my 40s and feel like I'm in the prime of my life, but I want to look like I'm in my prime too. And that's why I go to Dr. Rahi. She's an integrative aesthetics specialist, and when I say she does it all, I mean she does it all. She wipes out wrinkles, tightens your skin, has customized facials, non-surgical facelifts, acupuncture, helps with weight loss, nutrition, hormone therapy, hypnosis, everyday skincare, and more. Her gorgeous office is located on Rodeo Drive in Los Angeles, and she's available for consultations and appointments now. But if you're not in Los Angeles, you've still got access to the best skincare and weight loss products that really work. And it's all located at drrahi.com. Yep, no matter where in the world you are, you have access to the best skincare and weight loss products out there at doctorrahi.com. And for listening to The Last Trip, Dr. Rahi is offering 10% off all orders at drrahi.com if you use code BB at checkout. That's doctorrahi.com, drrahi.com, and use code BB. That's BEEBE at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Check it out now, because while you're not getting any younger, you can look like you are. The main discrepancy in this case is whether Blake went missing on land or in water. I think he probably went missing on land, and it was foul play, because there are several reasons he would not have been in the water that day. First, the car accident. He was still healing from his car accident and was not supposed to be diving. Second, he had a toothache and wasn't feeling well because his crown had fallen out. Most people are not going to get in the ocean to go snorkeling when they're in pain. And third, his scuba gear was found, so we know he wasn't diving. Could he have gone snorkeling or swimming? Maybe, but it's unlikely for several reasons. First, he just got a brand new tattoo that would have been painful and could have gotten infected being in the water. Second, he left his backpack with all his electronics on the dock. That would be an unusual thing to leave behind when you get in the water. And if he planned to get in the water, he wouldn't have brought those things with him. And third, even though there were lots of people around, no one saw him in the water, no one saw him on the dock, or getting into the water. But if he did get in the water, there's a good chance an accident could have happened. He had a toothache, which could have disoriented him underwater with the pain he was in. And getting in the ocean when you don't feel well is never a good idea. Maybe because he had a toothache, he wanted to test the pain on how far he could go down, so he took his snorkel and went skin diving 10 to 15 feet, got entangled in something, and couldn't free himself. But the problem with that scenario is that his body would have shown up in a few days. And there were divers in the area looking for him, but found nothing. So I really don't think he went in the water that day. But then what happened? Because his backpack with expensive items was left behind, it doesn't look like robbery was the motive. He didn't have any enemies on the island. He was a likable guy that everyone knew. He had been traveling to Cozumel for quite some time and made lots of friends. I'm sure authorities looked at the people involved in the car accident, but there's a possibility that could have played into it. He was injured in the accident, so it could have been financially motivating for him to disappear. But that also seems like a long shot. The last theory is suicide. He suffered from depression in the past and had just lost his brother, so he was definitely going through a hard time. But the main reason I just don't think it was suicide is because he would not have left his dog to suffer without food or water. Sophie was everything to him, and he took her everywhere with him. I just don't see him not caring about her in the end. I think someone knows what happened to Blake Mitchell, and I hope they choose to come forward to give his family the closure they deserve. Is Cozumel a safe place to travel? I would say yes. I've been there solo traveling and felt perfectly safe the entire time. But, like Blake's family found out, if something does go wrong, police there don't have the same resources we have in the US. You're basically on your own there and will have to advocate for yourself if something happens. So keep that in mind. It's a quiet island. The bars close early. A lot of people go there for amazing diving. There's a large expat community, and it's a top destination spot in Mexico for both locals and tourists. It's known for its friendly atmosphere, beautiful beaches, and vibrant marine life. But there's crime in every corner of the world, including Cozumel. The crime rate in Cozumel is lower than most parts of Mexico, especially the mainland, because the island's economy heavily depends on tourism. So local authorities and businesses prioritize the safety of visitors. The main tourist areas include San Miguel, the hotel zones, and the popular beaches, which are all areas that are well patrolled and maintained and are generally safe for travelers both during the day and at night. But as with any tourist destination, keep an eye on your personal belongings, especially in crowded places like markets, beaches, and public transportation. Pickpocketers love tourist areas, and they know what they're doing. They'll get away with an expensive item before you even realize it's missing. Be aware of common tourist scams and always verify prices before making purchases or accepting services. An example of this is to negotiate taxi fares beforehand and make sure the meter is being used. Always understand local laws and customs when traveling anywhere. In Cozumel, drug possession and trafficking are illegal and strictly enforced, and the penalties for drug related offenses are pretty severe. The legal drinking age in Mexico is 18, but be careful consuming any alcohol. There have been cases of people blacking out after just one drink and waking up robbed in the hospital or in jail. There may be something added to your drink, or in some cases, the alcohol is not made properly and can make you very sick or even cause death. Cozumel is part of a marine protected area. It's illegal to damage or remove coral, shells, and other marine life. And always use biodegradable sunscreen to protect the coral reefs. If you rent a scooter or a motorcycle, wear a helmet for your safety, and it's the law. Tipping is customary in Mexico. In restaurants, it's normally 10 to 15% of the bill. And for porters, hotel staff, and tour guides, small tips are greatly appreciated. Cozumel is warm, and many tourists run around in beachwear. But dress modestly when visiting religious sites and avoid overly revealing clothing in public places outside of the tourist resorts. I highly recommend visiting Cozumel. I think it's a great place for a first-time solo female traveler, families, divers, couples, basically everyone. But guys, most importantly, no matter where you're traveling, make sure you inform someone about your plans before going anywhere. Tell someone reliable where you're going and what you'll be doing and when to expect you back. And my number one tip to staying alive on vacation is to pay attention to your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it isn't. Blake Aaron Mitchell went missing in Cozumel on March 13, 2019. He was 30 years old in 2019, 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighed 170 pounds, has brown eyes and black hair. He also had a short beard and mustache when he went missing. He has 22 tattoos, and several notable ones that you can keep an eye out for. It says his last name, Mitchell, on his back. There is a rose on his left arm, a star on each collarbone, a scuba flag and hammerhead shark on his right shin. It says born to hunt, forced to work on his right forearm. It says live life, no regrets on his chest. And deep diver is written on his full back with a scuba flag. Blake's family deserves to know where he is and what happened to him. If you have any information, please contact your local police office or call 405-248-2103. And in Spanish, call 786-370-6324. And finally, remember to leave a review and rate this podcast 5 stars if you like the show, or hell, even if you don't. But either way, feel free to let me know what you think. Please follow The Last Trip on Instagram at The Last Trip Crime Pod, and subscribe on Patreon to support the show. You'll get extra research, videos, photos, and updates, and even learn more about my personal travels. That's patreon.com/The Last Trip Podcast. I'm Jamie Beebe, bringing you your last trip and signing off until the next one. Thanks for listening.